Hey everybody. Well, I broke down and I'll tell you why. So this year we have been so busy that I did not even think about starting seeds at all. And earlier in the spring I kind of came to the conclusion that I was just going to buy all of my plants this year for the garden because we're going to be away for a good chunk this summer. And yeah, I didn't prioritize seed sowing, which is totally fine. But one of the things I really don't want to buy, and I'm kind of very picky about, are my tomatoes. And I'm just going to sow tomatoes and maybe some lettuce. But other than that, I'm not growing anything more than will fit in my little indoor greenhouse. That's it. So I've mixed potting mix with a little bit of our compost just for nutrients, so I don't have to worry about doing any kind of nutrient management. And I'm just going to fill this tray, and that is it. I'm planting one tray. Brian made this tabletop when we were doing our syrup for the sink, for the stainless steel sink, and so I'm using it as a potting bench, which is really nice. Didn't really think about it at the time, but it was calling my name today. So this is a nice addition. And the tree swallows are back today, so that is awesome. You can hear the chainsaws still running from the storm. People are still doing lots of cleanup. And I guess I'm gonna fill these for some lettuce. It's really windy today, so I'm not going to talk too much, but I'm just going to tell you some of the varieties that I'm sowing. Most of them are from Seed Savers. I'm really sad because I don't have any midnight snack. That's a heartbreaker. They're one of my favorite cherry tomatoes. And in fact, I don't think I have any cherry tomatoes, so those I might buy. I'm not doing any paste tomatoes. I did grow these last year. Watermelon beefsteak, and they were very good. So, and I'm not even going to label them. That's how rogue I'm going this year. I know I like all of them, so it doesn't matter to me. And because these seeds are old, I'm putting 3 seeds per cell, and then I'll just thin them when I transplant them, because these will have to be transplanted. These I also like, so these are called German Giant. Green Zebra I really like. One thing I will say about all of the heirloom tomatoes that I've ever grown is that they aren't as hardy as some of the hybrids that you can get. So that's always something to consider. Brandy wines, very nice. Again, another one of my faves. Of course, I'm only going to plant. I'm at the point now where I don't tend to try anything new. I just know the tomatoes that I like, and I just grow the same ones every year. Maybe next year I'll try something new year, but we drove past somebody's house yesterday and they were still boiling sap. So that's like 1 month of the season. That's great that we had such a good season this year, because after all the tree damage, we might not have that next year. It's hard to say. Now, I've grown Paul Robeson for a couple years, and to be honest, they weren't proven performers, but I have them, so I'll start them. They're a really pretty looking tomato. Another one of my faves, Black Crim, Dr. Witchies, Kellogg's Breakfast. The insects are out today, so I'm sure the chickens are very happy. Cherokee Purple. These ones look fun. I got these from my friend Deanna. They're called Cosmic Eclipse. And it says they're 2 to 3 ounce fruits, start off green with dark green stripes and striking indigo colored splashes. Fruits ripen, spangled, brick red with green stripes. Sounds fun. What else do I have? I don't do paste tomatoes. I've never had good luck. I'm gonna do more of these cosmic babies because they sound really neat. And then I just gotta make sure, I'll save some of them if I really like them. Okay, and that is that. Not as kind of, not detailed, but not as finesse as I've always been, because I've always labeled stuff. But I just know that this whole flat is tomatoes, so that'll work. To be honest, the pantry shelves are not bare, but getting there, and that's okay. We have all of the staples still, and I kind of want to reset. There's still food down there from, I'm going to say 2021, 2022. And although that's totally fine, it's still safe to eat in my world anyways. I just, I'm going to actually clear the shelves of some of the things that I preserved because I had never preserved them before and we just don't like, or we just don't eat. And that's going to make some room. But this year I knew I had to grow tomatoes because we need pasta sauce, salsa, really, those are my two. And then just some canned tomatoes. I usually keep some of those on hand for stews and soups and things like that. So yeah, so there we go. Unlabeled, random flat of tomatoes. Louie, what are you doing? You look handsome today. The other thing I am going to sow today are greens, because the only time I really eat a lot of fresh greens is if I go out to a restaurant, and that's like fresh, but they're not local for the most part. And then the other part of the year, so for the cold parts of the year, all I really eat is sauerkraut and vegetables that I grew that are stored, like root vegetables that we've stored or that we've canned. So it's nice to have lettuce to go in early in the season. And the reason I eat so much sauerkraut is because, first of all, it's fermented and very good for you. And second of all, I can buy it all from Ontario. So I buy the cabbage. It's Ontario grown cabbage all winter long. And so, yeah. So we got to have some butter crunch, because that's where it's at. Lettuce is always a tricky one for me because the seeds are so small. So this lettuce, Bellino, is fabulous. And I'll also sow some of this direct into the garden, but I find planting starts is sometimes a little bit easier. And then I'm going to do some of this. Taboo was very good. Okay, and that is it. Let's go take a quick look in the garden. I pruned my fruit trees, gave them a good haircut this year, but I still do like them to look like trees, so I didn't go hog wild. Here's still some of our carrots. Simon has been helping himself. Brian dug a bunch today, but Simon has found them and lets himself in. He comes under the gate and helps himself. So, but we still have a good number left, so that's kind of nice. But one of the things about, it's so windy out here. One of the things about our new chickens that I got last year, the ready to lays, the white ones, they fly a lot more than the heritage breeds that I got originally, like my OGs. Dandelions, look. Oh, and so it begins. So anyways, they come into the garden regularly, which is making it very difficult for me to keep my beds in order. Like, I prepped all these beds. They were perfectly formed, and they kind of still are, but like the chickens have come in and basically decimated all of my beds. So it is a bit of a love-hate relationship. I'm not into cutting their wing feathers at all, like cutting their primary feathers so they can't fly, because they are roaming, and so I want them to have every chance they can of getting away from predators. But it also means they can get in the garden, which is definitely going to be challenging this year because that means they're going to be bothering the plants. So we're just going to have to assess that day by day. And the reason I'm already concerned is because these 3 beds here, these are the garlic beds, and they already came in and messed with these. So you can see the garlic already coming up. And so we put these covers on. We actually have to cover the garlic beds anyways this year because of the leek moth that we had last year that we were dealing with. So I'm going to have to cover them, but I'm going to have to put hoops on them. So I'm not sure. I'm probably just not even going to cover the brassicas this year and just leave it. Yeah, it's so hard. It's always so hard, this gardening thing. There's definitely something to be said for buying your food and preserving food that other farmers grew. If you're not too picky, and you know, you can get a good local farmer to supply you your food, because it is a ton of work. And don't let anybody tell you any differently, because they're full of it. If they tell you that growing your own food is easy, I don't care if it's in a container or in ground. It's a lot of work. It's very hard, you know, and luckily we live in a time where growing your own food is optional. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the growing season. I have very low expectations, which is a good way to go into it. I'll have hopefully some tomatoes, and then I'm going to buy the rest at a local garden center that has really great produce that I've always been really happy with, and we're just going to plant what we can get from there and go with that. And then of course just seeds, like I'm going to try and grow, I always try and grow quite a few beans and things like that, but that's where we're at this year. I can see some stuff coming up in the garden. The tulips are coming up, which is nice, but today it's 11 degrees, but we've had some pretty snotty weather here lately, cold, very cold. So for the middle of April, it's a bit unseasonal. We have a few patches of snow left way at the back of the property, but other than that, most of it is gone. So we're looking forward to spring. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.